Hi there. Today we'll be cycling the Bridgwater and Taunton Canal. Now I set off from the Taunton train station and returned from Bridgwater by train, turning the route into a loop. I love the serenity of a canal ride, and this one's no different. As the case with my route guide videos, this isn't intended to be a cinematic masterpiece. Instead, the video was intentionally made to allow you to see the entire route, so you can make an informed decision about whether or not you wanted to cycle it. The video plays at 4 times speed, so you can see the entire route in a fraction of the time. However, there are some gotchas. First of all, towpaths aren't cycling infrastructure as such. They're usually very narrow, and by any bridges have very limited sight lines. They tend to have a fair few walkers using them too, and pedestrians obviously have priority. When approaching pedestrians, especially from behind, do slow down. I tend to call out a friendly greeting like, "Good morning, please may I squeeze by?" The surface on towpaths tend to vary enormously, and the Bridgwater and Taunton Canal is no exception. In places you'll be cycling on bumpy tar, in others on quite good self-compacting gravel, but in parts the surface is effectively muddy single track. Worse yet, there are a few sections along the canal where the towpath is covered in clay. Now, all canals are clay lined. That's how they waterproof them, in a process called puddling. Tow horses can cope well with clay on the towpath, but bicycles don't have 4 legs. Twice on this ride, my front wheel skidded out and I came close to falling off. As a result, I would suggest that much of this route isn't fit for new or nervous cyclists, and especially not for young children. Now, parts of it would be fine. How much you'll enjoy cycling this route very much depends on the weather, especially for the 2 weeks before your ride. If they had a dry, warm spell of 2 weeks, the towpath would be fine throughout. However, if they had rained recently, expect muddy, slippery patches. Wet clay can be as slippery as black ice. Now, National Cycle Network Route number 3, or NCN3, uses much of the canal, but around half a mile before Monsell Lock, NCN3 veers away to take a quiet rural lane instead. If it rained before your ride, I strongly suggest you follow that diversion, as that will bypass the most slippery, muddy part of the entire canal ride. The Bridgwater and Taunton Canal opened in 1827 and links the River Parrett, which runs through Bridgwater, with the River Taun, running through Taunton. As a commercial operation, it was pretty much an abject failure, as it opened shortly before railways started taking over. By World War I, the canal was practically abandoned. World War II slightly revived the canal in a way, and it became part of what was known as the Taunton Stop Line. The Taunton Stop Line was a fortified line designed to stop, or at least slow down, an anticipated Nazi invasion. And along the canal today, you will see plenty of concrete pillboxes where Vickers machine guns would have been set up. All the permanent bridges over the canal had demolition charges affixed so they could rapidly be destroyed. When you cycle the canal, pay attention to some of the older bridges where you can still see the now filled in holes made to keep the demolition charges. In Bridgwater, the River Parrett is a saltwater river, while the canal holds fresh water. As a result, navigation by boat between the river and the canal hasn't been possible for a long time, as the canal is also used today to transport what will become, after treatment, drinking water for the town of Bridgwater. The canal has an interesting and built-to-scale outdoor art installation called the Somerset Spacewalk. The Somerset Spacewalk has a model of the Sun close to Monsell Lock, and planets to scale extending in either direction. If you approach from Taunton, you'll find the planet Pluto by the Brewhouse Theatre, and pass all the other planets along the way until you get to the Sun. From there, as you get nearer to Bridgwater, you'll pass another set of installations of all the planets. At Monsell Lock, there's a pub called the Lock Inn, which I walked away from after seeing they use those awful digital coffee machines. Life is too short to drink bad coffee, and anywhere that uses machines like that are loudly saying they don't know how to make decent coffee. A short distance further is the Monsell-lock tea rooms, but sadly the coffee there isn't particularly good. Of course, on a sweltering hot summer's day that wouldn't matter, as you'd probably opt for a cold drink instead. However, I was amazed throughout the ride by how disconnected everything around the canal appears to be from the canal. Lots of homes, for example, have gardens backing directly onto the canal, but without any gates or means to access the canal. There's also a shortage of cafes along the canal, and I wondered if one of the old pillboxes could be repurposed as an off-grid cafe similar to the Snail Space Cafe at the end of the Wandsworth branch of the Camel Trail. In Bridgwater itself, the town seems disconnected from the canal too. While there are newish developments around the canal basin, the only people I could see were mainly those who are fishing. That's despite ample open space for cafes along an area that could be such a vibrant destination. Despite all that, it's a great ride, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you get to ride it soon.
That's